Hi there, I'm Scott Lowe with ActualTech Media, and thank you for joining us for this Spotlight Series video. I'm joined today by Jason Shepard, who is the VP for Ecosystem at ZEDEDA. Jason, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
So, ZEDEDA, you do Edge, but tell us what Edge means in this context, because so many people have so many definitions, it seems like depending on what they're trying to sell.
Yeah. I mean, it's edge, like a lot of technologies. There's a lot of edge washing happening right now, and I joke it's like there's like thin and thick edges, and near and far. It's like a bad episode of Sesame Street with Grover, like near far. Like it's not one thing. It's a continuum, and think of it as from constrained devices in the field, like very lightweight devices that are doing more and more computing and processing within them as they get more capable, all the way up to regional data centers, where you would kind of concentrate compute to spread across a bunch of users, but still closer to them. For us, edge is from the fringes of a traditional data center, kind of on-prem, into devices that are still capable of running virtualization or containerization out in the field. Think of this as like take the principles of the data center solution, the principles of the public cloud, and extend them as far out towards the people and lightweight devices out in the field until it just breaks. And for us, it's all about how do I scale those types of deployments? How do I do security and management and whatnot? So, very specific part of the continuum.
Is ZEDEDA intended to help sort of normalize the edge operating environment so you can basically make it easier to manage? Is that a big part of what the deal is here?
Yeah, and that's what I mean by extending the public cloud experience out. So when you're doing things in the public cloud, you don't care that the server is silver or purple or it's like a circle or a square. I don't care. It's
Right.
It's a resource. And when you have enough computing power, on a box, you can abstract workloads with containers, virtualization, all the tools that we've known in the data center for some time. And the cloud basically then presents it as a subscription. And I need this much virtual CPU, this much memory, storage, whatever, for these applications. What we're doing is taking those principles and compacting it down to run on all the way down to like a Raspberry Pi class device out in the field, but it extracts all the complexity from the hardware below to where I'm just looking at it as a resource. And so I get that same experience, but it's out in the field. And there's some other unique things that you have to do. You can't just drop data center solutions on these types of devices. And we can kind of talk through that. But yes, it is abstracting the complexity. I just care about apps as a developer. I just want to push stuff out there and scale it. And I don't want to have to worry about the infrastructure.
It seems like this would provide some cost, operational, and security benefits that you're not going to get by just putting things randomly out on the edge to play. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that come to us and they're like, initially, there's a lot of people still learning how to spell edge. They're just like, I need to come buy some edge, edge solutions or whatever. It's like, well, what are you trying to do? I don't know. I just feel like I need to buy it.
It's odd in the news.
I was working on IoT before this. You've been doing that for a while, and people would come say, I need to buy some IoT. What are you trying to do? I don't know. I'm like, okay, what color would you like? It's like literally like, it's not one thing. But people, first you need a use case. You need to be doing, edge computing for a reason. You're trying to lower latency. You're trying to reduce the cost of bandwidth. Computer vision is like the killer app for edge, where it's expensive to just push streaming video everywhere. So doing local analytics makes a lot of sense. Once you have a use case and you kind of get past the initial POC phase, then what ZEDEDA does really matters, because you realize it is hard to scale these types of solutions in the real world. There's a mix of different types of hardware you need to deploy on. You have to assume that someone can walk up and touch the box and start trying to hack away on it, because it could be on a factory floor, it could be in a retail store, out in a truck somewhere. You have to assume you're going to lose connection to the data center, whereas in the data center, you have constant connection from the server to the controller. And so it's for us, it's all about how do we make it easier to deploy edge computing? How do we make it easy to secure these types of solutions without IT skill sets out in the field, because that's not typical. So that's our whole focus.
Now, from a use case perspective, there's probably people coming to you because they want to do X. I mean, is it an AI/ML type thing? And there's a lot of IoT out there on the edge and things like that. But what are some common, beyond the I bought ZEDEDA and now I can do, what can I do?
Yeah. And usually it's like I was saying, it's kind of like what I want to do, and then I find that it's really important. But either way, and so we sell our cloud orchestration console. That's what you would subscribe to. It's SaaS, and then to that, there's an edge component that enables our console that runs bare metal on that hardware. If I'm coming to ZEDEDA because I'm trying to scale some sort of edge solution, we see different categories. So one would be like two things. One is we see people coming kind of down from the IT world. This is I want to extend my IT principles further out into the field, to the branch office, to a retail store, a healthcare facility, whatever. I want to be able to consolidate different types of applications on common infrastructure. I want to be able to secure it. I want to be able to do it with less resources on site because I'm just always faced with budget challenges and whatnot. It's very much an IT, kind of almost like a better mousetrap for IT from one trajectory. That's where I would be doing things like, it could be video surveillance. I'm consolidating, Windows-based video management solutions alongside, AI models for facial recognition. I could be wanting to deploy, my legacy point of sale software or whatnot. This is one of the key value props for ZEDEDA is we support any combination of virtual machines and containers. That includes like legacy Windows apps. A lot of people doing Edge are all doing containers, which means you have to drop everything that you've developed over time and start to move all to containers. We provide a transition path. So the IT downside is kind of more of IT modernization. That's one angle, and those are the types of industries. The operations world up would be more like I'm trying to consolidate applications on my factory floor, and pull data out of my process control systems, maybe do some local processing, and then have, because of the way we do security from a zero trust architecture standpoint, we're really beneficial when you have to work through segmented networks to protect like your processes. In the IT world, if systems go down, it's like, sorry, you can't get your email. In the OT world, things blow up. If someone gets hurt, very different. And so we have the OT up customers, and this is workload consolidation in manufacturing, oil and gas. We see people that are deploying a mix of legacy and modern software on trucks out in the oil field, in Kubernetes clusters. It's how do I consolidate infrastructure, do local analytics, keep reusing what I've always been using, and then kind of expand from there. So the main thing is that it comes from two trajectories, kind of IT down and OT up, and the needs vary depending on what you're doing.
On the hardware side, I mean, obviously, all software needs hardware. Even when you think about the cloud, there's hardware somewhere. What do you run on? It sounds like you run on everything from Intel to Raspberry Pi, kind of what I'm getting the sense of here.
Yeah. Generally, we're agnostic. So the tax that you pay to abstract, the complexity of the hardware, we virtualize the hardware to where again it gives you that public cloud experience, is basically 512 megs of hardware and disk and 2 CPU cores. Could be any kind of device. Could be GPUs. We support co-processing GPUs, FPGAs. Doesn't matter, as long as you have just enough resources to run that base engine. It's EVOS from Linux Foundation. Think of it as like kind of do for Edge what Android did for mobile. Create a very curated open operating system that enables an ecosystem of hardware and applications around it, and it doesn't lock you in. And then our orchestration cloud, which is what you buy, leverages that base. But that base requires that footprint. Below that footprint, now you have to go embedded. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. Everything's custom software for every device, because you can't do that abstraction that we were talking about. So we go as far down until it just breaks.
Got it. If people want to learn more about ZEDEDA, where can they go?
Yeah, you can check us out at ZEDEDA.com, and a lot of stuff online. And we're also doing a lot in the Linux Foundations. You can learn about Project Eve, which is where we're developing with the community the base that we leverage for our commercial offer, Zed Cloud. But definitely a lot of information there, and can learn more. And we're always glad to chat. If you send email to info@zededa.com, we'll also be able to give you some more information.
Jason, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And thank you to our audience for watching this Spotlight Series video. If you'd like to see more Spotlight Series videos, please visit youtube.com/ActualTech Media. Thank you.